Breaking news out of Hawaii, where they are really facing a triple threat of natural disasters.
Earthquakes, volcanoes, and toxic gas. Just last night, the Big Island of Hawaii was hit by the most powerful earthquake in 40 years. All this as Kilauea volcano is erupting, bringing molten lava and dangerous sulfur dioxide gas. Look at those visuals, clearing residential neighborhoods.
And we've got some new video coming in this morning from the Hawaii Department of Defense. Look at this. It shows the lava flowing out of what's called a fissure, smoke there surrounding people's homes.
Yeah, nearly 2,000 people have been forced from their homes. And ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is right there on the Big Island with the very latest for this morning. Marcy, good morning to you.
Paul and Dan, good morning. Yes, since they don't know when and where the ground could open up again, the National Guard is set up, ready for the possibility of more evacuations as this area deals with aftershocks and more eruptions. Overnight, nature's fireworks show on Hawaii's Big Island. Molten rock and flames spewing into the air, glowing lava lighting up the sky and flowing into neighborhoods.
It just seems like it keeps fissuring upwards and becoming more hazardous.
New fissures opening up after multiple earthquakes. A 5.0 shaking the Big Island on Thursday, the Kilauea volcano erupting just hours later. Two more quakes happening Friday, including a 6.9 magnitude, the largest in the state since 1975. Rattling homes and nerves.
You guys all right?
Causing landslides and shutting down roads.
This isn't stopping.
The aftershocks ongoing as the flow of lava, which the U.S. Geological Survey expects to speed up in the coming days, forces at least 1,800 people to evacuate.
Just knowing that we're not going to have a house, the lava might take it. My wife is still in tears, you know.
At least 2 houses already destroyed in this community, where the ground's opening up miles from the actual volcano crater. Closer, the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, a major tourist attraction, now closed, as that plume of thick pink smoke pours over the island, sending dangerous levels of toxic sulfur dioxide into the air, creating what officials call an immediate threat to life. There have been no injuries. There was also no major damage from that big earthquake. The governor's declared a state of emergency here as officials say they have no idea when these eruptions could stop. Dan and Paula.
Just can't imagine the level of panic that so many residents are feeling this morning.
Molten lava and ash spewed hundreds of feet into the air and onto the streets of the mountainside community near Hilo. Residents under a mandatory evacuation tried to outrun the lava flow.
We're evacuating. Everyone needs to leave now.
The eruption started after hundreds of small quakes hit the area earlier in the week. Residents began documenting the growing cracks on the streets in front of their homes.
It's gotten bigger over the last hour.
A magnitude 5 earthquake hit on Thursday, and the volcano began to erupt shortly after. Lava could be seen bubbling up on the streets in the community of Leilani Estates, 25 miles east of the volcano. At least 2 houses were on fire, and drone footage shows a red line of lava snaking through trees several miles away. Time-lapse video shows the continuous flow of lava deep inside Kilauea. Residents on the Big Island are now being warned about exposure to high levels of sulfur dioxide from the lava, a gas that can cause intense coughing and burning throats. Volcano expert Paul Davis says the gas occurs during the melting process.
It's sort of like you've injected ammonia into all into your nose, into your breathing area, into your throat.
Hawaii has 5 active volcanoes, but Kilauea has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983, and scientists say there's no way to predict how long this eruption will last.
The Red Cross is telling people to prepare to be out of their homes for at least 2 weeks, and authorities are warning those in the path of the lava if they do not evacuate, rescuers may not be able to save them.
On the volcanic activity happening in Hawaii, our other expert, Ivan Cabrera.
I am so glad you asked him that question. Good to see you, Natalie. As far as, like, is this typical? Do you normally see lava flows like that in a neighborhood? Yes. Because I hadn't seen something like that. On Main Street, all of a sudden you have lava spewing out in a residential neighborhood, which is why we have the evacuation. So certainly is the call you don't want to get at work, right? We're evacuating your home because we've got lava. Although, of course, you know, these are Hawaiians. These are volcanic islands. This is what you would expect, except for the fact that that doesn't happen quite often. Now, the threat, and you made a great point there as far as life-threatening situation, it isn't, because we have so much lead time. The 200 or so earthquakes that occurred, letting us know that Kilauea was up to something, and then the 5.0 earthquake that certainly partially collapsed the crater there that we have been seeing with drone footage. And that, of course, is the flow that has been threatening the estates further to the east. There's the crater there. And in fact, I'm seeing some Google pictures of folks getting right in there. And this is a huge crater there, not completely collapsed, but partially. And that has been enough to get to some of the flow popping up across Leilani estates. That's the area that 1,700 people or so are under the potential for evacuation. We understand hundreds have already been evacuated. So let's kind of break it down for you here. It's a bit confusing for some of us, especially if we don't live there. They have different alerts, right? They have watches, kind of like we have with typhoons or things like that. Well, warning is the highest level, and that's where we're at now. Obviously, the event is underway. Aviation alerts have been posted as well. That 5.0 earthquake was what was responsible. We fly in here, and upwards of 1,700 people are now under very close monitoring by the Civil Defense in Hawaii there, in case they do have to suddenly get more folks out of the way. By the way, ahead of this event, thousands of hectares had already been assigned off limits because of the potential eruption here. So it's something that we're going to continue to watch, but it continues to develop. And I've been refreshing the volcanology page from Hawaii just to see if we get any additional updates as far as any more fissures that have the possibility to kind of pop up, because that entire zone that I showed you there, we understand has the potential to have some vents, which is not something you want to see. So it's happening in the Leilani estates, but it could pop up in other regions. Unlikely, but that's a potential. So they're monitoring the whole area very closely, as you would understand, in case we need to get people out of the way. But lots of leeway time. That's certainly a good thing.
The folks that have already been evacuated, any word on how long they'll have to stay away?
At this point, it looks like it's going to be several days until the earthquakes kind of start. And, you don't see the lava coming spewing out of the ground there. But I think it's going to be some time before folks get back in there. And hopefully we won't have significant structure damage as well. But less concerned about folks because they're getting well treated and well evacuated out of there. So
yeah. Well, residents describe the constant ground shaking as unnerving.
Yeah, I would say so.
It would be.
Although I prefer small earthquakes rather than lava spewing out of my backyard. But we'll see what happens.
All right, yeah. Ivan, thank you.